First, I want to say happy birthday to Sunny Hostin. Hope she enjoys her birthday. Her and Kamala Harris apparently have the same birthday. Secondly, I also want to say this is the type of conversations I wish the View have on a daily basis with the things they spoke today on the show. I'm not really a huge fan of Condoleezza Rice, but I think she, out of all the other Republicans that they had to fill in that seat, has been the best Republican to be on that show. I like the debate that they had. It was very off-putting that she tried to cut off Sunny Hostin, but we're going to get to that. Let's talk about it. Hi, welcome to JOATV, new to my channel. Y'all got to move this little blanket. Please click subscribe and click the bell. You'll be the first to know when I upload. I really appreciate if you do subscribe. You do click the bell. That really doesn't mean a lot. Give me a thumbs up. Please share this video with your friends. Help your boy expand the platform. Let's watch this clip and I'll come back with some more.
First of all, let me be very clear. I said at the time, January 6th was wrong. I called it an assault on law and order and an assault on our democratic processes. So full stop, it was wrong. Law enforcement will determine what happened there, and those who violated the law ought to be punished. I also, on January 6th, for the first time since I was the National Security Advisor on September 11th, I cried that day, right? Because I thought, I study countries that do this. Yes. I didn't think it would happen in my own country, so it was a terrible moment. I will say that that night, when they filed back into the Capitol after it was secured, and they certified that election, I had new faith in our institutions and the people who were protecting them. So we came through that as a country that ultimately upheld the law. Now, I think what Senator McConnell may be referencing is, yes, it's time to move on in a lot of ways. Yeah. I'm one who believes that the American people are now concerned about their what we call kitchen table issues, the price of gasoline, inflation, what's happening to their kids in school. I think we're going to talk a little bit more about that. I will say that as somebody who was a national security expert, maybe didn't see in quite the same way the rise of China in ways that we're seeing it now. And so we do have a lot of issues. And I hope that what we will do is move on to the next generation of leadership. Because even people like me, I was in Washington a total of 10 years, 2 years with George H.W. Bush, 8 years with George W. Bush. I shouldn't go back. We ought to move on to the next generation, move ahead and deal with the American people's issues.
So you wouldn't go back if they asked you?
I have no desire to go back to Washington, D.C. Absolutely zero.
Well, I think it's really politically expedient for Mitch McConnell to say, let's move on, especially when the former twice impeached disgraced president enjoys attacking Mitch McConnell. But the problem is that past will become prologue if we don't find out exactly what happened January 6th.
And we will.
So it's not time now.
We will find out.
We must find out before moving on.
We will find out. But I'm going to tell you, I live in California, not Washington, D.C. And the American people do have other concerns that we ought to be thinking about and talking about.
Respectfully, and Madam Secretary, I think
let me finish now, Sunny, because as I said, I thought this would happen in countries I studied, not countries that I lived in. Our institutions have to be upheld. What happened on January 6th was wrong. I don't know how much more strongly I can say what happened on January 6th was wrong. I also know that as a government and as a country, we've got to be concerned about the things that are making life hard for Americans and hard for American families. But when you and that's what I'm ready to do.
But when you have 80% of Republicans wanting to see Trump run in 2024,
you know what? I'm a political scientist, all right? And unless I could see the questions that were actually in that poll, unless I could see the assumptions that were actually in that poll, I'm not going to take for granted that that poll is correct.
So Quinnipiac, you don't believe in
no, I said I'm a political scientist. I understand polls. And unless I really knew what was in that poll, I just want to repeat, as to what I want to see in my party, I want to see the next generation of leadership step up. I want those of us who have been there, done that, to step back. And I want to move on to a better America.
So I think she's coming on tomorrow, and I hope they continue this conversation. I didn't like her whole attitude towards Sunny. Ain't no Madam Secretary. Sunny should have cut that bitch off and told her, hey, This is a situation. We had a discussion here on this channel about polls, and I agree with her. Like, I need to know who were the people that were surveyed, what kind of jobs they had, what are the demographics, because the people that are usually surveyed aren't really the representation of the people that are like you and I. And so that's statistics and all of that stuff. Sometimes it's a bunch of BS, right? It's a bunch of BS. I've always questioned, of course, as Middle Eastern, if there was an actual issue at hand. And of course, that's a big old lie about the propaganda of weapons of mass destructions. And in Iraq, y'all know at the end of the day, it's all about oil. I hope she comes back tomorrow, and I want her, and I wish they would have actually questioned her about Colin Powell. I know she did an op-ed and discussed how Colin Powell was his greatest person and influence in the industry and stuff like that. So hopefully tomorrow they talk about Colin Powell, and I wish they did today. I don't think they did. They should have asked her the question because she worked with him apparently. And I know they also talked about critical race theory. Critical race theory is being said is not being taught in school. But to me, it's obviously being taught in school. It's obviously being not in all schools, but you know how we get the stories with teachers having sexual intercourse with kids. You know, nowadays, you know, we get also teachers that feel too comfortable where they can say anything they want. They had a teacher that got fired for telling her black students that they would be her field slaves, right? So that's an example. But I could care less. I could give a damn about Condoleezza Rice or anybody. I think what the citizens want is to be able to pay their bills, to provide for their damn kids, to put food on the table, and for these damn gas prices to go down. I shouldn't be paying almost $40 for gas. I've never paid that much in my life. That's crazy, all right? I'm not going into the whole detail of this video and what they were talking about. I could care less. I don't care. We're going to find out what happened in January 6th. This may sound radical, but stuff like this that happened at this damn Capitol happens all the time in the Middle East by this damn country, United States of America. So finally, Americans know how it feel with the karma, okay? Deuces. Yay, yay. Subscribe and click that bell, baby. Subscribe and click the bell.